Hello, I am Flash Isaac and you are welcome to Flash Learners. Today, I shall be releasing WAEC Chemistry Likely Questions and Answers Part 1. I will be showing you the type of questions set in WAEC and how to answer WAEC questions so that at the end of this series, you'll be able to answer any WAEC question you come across. I will release both chemistry objective and theories set in WAEC. Remember, this is the part 1. In this class, I am making use of the Flash Learners WAEC application. The Flash Learners WAEC app is the best and the most advanced application to pass WAEC. It contains thousands of WAEC pass and likely questions, competition to win 30,000 naira. It contains, from the app, you can watch my videos directly. You see, it has a lot of features and you have my number there in case you need to contact me. So get the app, activate, and let us get along. How do I get the app? Search Flash Learners WAEC on Google Play Store or visit flashlearners.com. Flashlearners.com, you will see apps. Or if you are watching on YouTube, I will share links below to download the mobile and desktop version. Now, shall we begin? The first question I am attempting here says, the following substances are normal salts except. Now, this is how we roll. We read out questions. If necessary, I display the question on the screen. Then I answer the question. Not just answer the question, I will use that opportunity to touch as many things as possible in the topic so that at the end, you will be full. Trust me, this series will help you pass. Normal salts. What are salts? Or what is a salt? You can't talk about salts without talking about acids and bases. Why? Salts are as a result of acids and bases. What is an acid? If you are in primary school or in junior WAEC and I ask you what is an acid, you can give me one definition. But in WAEC level, if I ask you what is an acid or what is base, you simply ask me or tell me according to who, because a lot of persons defined acid. The two popular ones we shall talk about are Arrhenius acid acids, then Bronsted and Lowry acids. According to Arrhenius, acid is any substance which when dissolved in water produces hydrogen ion as the only positive ion, while a base is a substance which when dissolves in water will produce hydrogen ion, which is a negative ion. And Bronsted and Lowry says that acids are proton donor while bases are proton acceptor. Look at something. Hydrogen ion is simply a proton. Why? When you are given hydrogen, hydrogen has one proton, one electron, which revolves around. Once hydrogen atom loses an electron, it becomes hydrogen ion. So what is remaining? Proton. Hydrogen ion is simply a proton. So Arrhenius says acids dissociate in water to give hydrogen ion as the only positive ion. Bases dissociate to give hydrogen ion. Bronsted states that acids are proton donor and bases are proton acceptor. Following this definition, it simply shows that acids contain hydrogen ion and bases we have hydrogen ion. If some or all of the hydrogen ions in an acid or hydrogen ion is an acid is replaced by metal, you form salt. For example, given HCl plus, let's say, sodium. This is an acid and this is a metal. When they react, you simply get, let's say, sodium chloride plus hydrogen. This is not a balanced equation, but the idea is metal will displace hydrogen from acid. What is formed? Salt, which means all the replaceable hydrogen ion, which is just one here, the basicity of this acid is 1 because it has just one hydrogen ion that can be replaced. So since it has been replaced by a metal, salt is being formed. That is how salts are formed. In some salt, all of the replaceable hydrogen ions will be replaced, which means we have a normal salt. Now, in some salt, some of the replaceable hydrogen ions won't be replaced, which means that salt will still contain H, something like this. For example, there will still be H here. In some salt, there will still be OH. Like in this case, in this type of salt, it still has hydroxy ion, which means all of the hydroxy ion present in the acid or in the base has not been replaced by a metal. In this case, we call this basic salt because it still has OH. Any salt that has H is acid salt. The one with OH is basic salt. The one without H or OH is normal salt. It is neutral. So the pH of that salt will be 7. When you are given a pH scale, 7 is neutral. So 8, 9, 10 to 14, they are basic. 6, 7, 4, 3, 2, 1, they are acidic. As you move this way, pH of 3 is more acidic than 6. As you move this way, pH of 8 is less basic than 14. So that is how salts are formed. Now they say the following substances are normal salts except a normal salt will not have H or OH, which means option B, sodium chloride, is a normal salt. Option C, AlNO3, whether you know that it's a salt or not, it's not even a problem. Just look at all the options. The one that has OH is a basic salt. The one that has H is an acid salt. So that is how we roll. And the next question, let's take a look at this. It says, consider the reaction represented by the equation. We are given this reaction and it says H2SO4 is acting as what? Option A says sulfonic agent. Option B says a reducing agent. Option C says a catalyst. And option D says an oxidizing agent. By the way, I am also doing a series on NECO likely questions in chemistry and other subjects. For WAEC, I'm also doing for other subjects. When I released episode 1 of NECO chemistry series, part 1 rather, I explained oxidation and reduction in details. There is something called redox reaction. Redox reaction is a reaction in which oxidation and reduction are taking place simultaneously. What is oxidation? Oxidation is simply addition of oxygen. If in a reaction, oxygen is being added in the product or the number of oxygen in the product is more than the one in the reaction, we'll say that oxygen has been added and it is oxidation reaction. When hydrogen is being removed, it is also oxidation. So oxidation is the addition of oxygen, removal of hydrogen. While reduction, on the other hand, is addition of hydrogen and removal of oxygen. If the number of oxygen in the product is lesser than that of the reactant, it simply means that oxygen has been removed, and that is reduction. Apart from in terms of oxygen and hydrogen, oxidation is the addition of electronegative elements and removal of electropositive elements, while reduction is the addition of electropositive elements and removal of electronegative elements. Also, in reduction, oxidation number reduces in the product, while in oxidation, oxidation number increases in the product. Taking a look at this reaction, this is H2SO4 here, right? Now, what has happened? In this H2SO4, it has become 2H2O. Now, look at this carbon. In this place, it gave you CO2. From just carbon solid to carbon 4 oxide, what has happened? oxygen has been added. What is that? That is oxidation. Addition of oxygen is oxidation. It simply means that carbon has been oxidized. If carbon has been oxidized, what oxidized the carbon? It is simply H2SO4 that oxidized the carbon. So H2SO4 is oxidizing agent. How do we confirm that it is actually oxidizing agent? It will simply get reduced. For example, here H2SO4 contains 2 times for 8 oxygen. Coming to this place, oxygen is even 2 reduced. In fact, coming to this place, oxygen is 4. So it has been reduced. There is loss of oxygen. Meaning from here, reduction is taking place. Loss of oxygen. Here, oxidation is taking place. And in redox reaction, the one that is reduced is the oxidizing agent. And the one that is oxidized is a reducing agent. So I hope you understand this. Here is reduction. The one that is reduced, here is oxidation. So carbon is oxidized. Here is reduction. H2SO4 is reduced. The one that is reduced is what causes the other one to be oxidized. And the one that is oxidized is what causes the other one to be reduced. This is why the one that is reduced is the oxidizing agent. The one that is oxidized is the reducing agent. And this is one of the products of combustion of pentane in excess air is dash. Pentane is simply a hydrocarbon. Hydrocarbons are compounds that contain carbon and hydrogen alone. And the top hydrocarbons are classified into alkanes, alkenes, and alkynes. The general formula for alkanes is simply CnH2n plus 2. Alkenes, CnH2n. Alkynes, CnH2n minus 2. What does it imply? Pentane simply means an alkane with 5 carbons. That is pentane. Pent with 6 carbon, hexane. With 7 carbon, heptane. With 8 carbon, octane. With 9 carbon, nonane. With 10 carbon, decane. With 3 carbon, prop. With 4 carbon, but. With 2 carbon, et. With 1 carbon, meat. So if there is 5 carbon here, and this is general formula for alkanes, it simply means that this alkane will be C5H 2 times 5 10 plus 2 12. This is C5H12, and this is the structure. 1 2 3 4 5 carbon. Every other thing is hydrogen. That is alkanes for you. They have single bonds throughout. Why alkenes? They have double bond. Alkynes, they have triple carbon to carbon bond. Remember, carbon is tetravalent. And the reason we have a whole lot of organic compound is because of ability of carbon to catenate, to combine with itself and others to form straight chain, branch chain, and ring. Although oxygen and sulfur, phosphorus can catenate, carbon is the biggest catenator. And also, hybridization is the reason carbon has tetravalency. Carbon can carry maximum of 4 bonds. In terms of hybridization, this guy is sp3 hybridized, this is sp2 hybridized, and this is sp hybridized. Benzene is C6H6. It has alternating double bonds and it is sp2 hybridized. All these are by the wayside. Anytime you are given a hydrocarbon, one of their reaction is combustion. Combustion simply means burning, and for combustion to take place, there must be oxygen. So when any hydrocarbon burn, the result is simply carbon dioxide and water. So hydrocarbon burn to give carbon dioxide and water. So and in excess air, there will be complete combustion. And one of the A says pentane, B nitrogen 2 oxide, C carbon 4 oxide, and D pentane. Carbon 4 oxide is the answer. It is one of the products of combustion of hydrocarbons. If 20 centimeter cube of sodium hydroxide was neutralized by 20 centimeter cube of 0.1 mole per dm cube tetraoxosulfate 6 acid, what is the concentration of the solution? In this case, we are dealing with sodium hydroxide and H2SO4. Remember, when acids react with base, we form salt and water. The process is referred to as neutralization, especially if a strong acid reacts with strong base. So, strong acid is an acid which ionizes completely in solution, which means this will ionize completely to form the two hydrogen ions to be given out, giving you a basicity of 2. While a strong base will ionize completely, that means the OH will ionize completely in solution. Let's look at other things they give us. They said in the sodium hydroxide, which is the base, the volume of base is 20 centimeter cube. Was neutralized by 20 cm cube of 0.1 mole of tetraoxosulfate 6 acid. So the volume of the acid is also 20 centimeter cube. The concentration of the acid is 0.01 mole per dm cube. So they say, what is the concentration of the base? That is the question. And for titration, remember the formula. CaVa over CbVb is equals Na over Nb. From here, we have Va, Vb, Va, Ca, Cb we are looking for. We need number of mole of acid and the number of moles of base. How do we do that? It's simply balancing the equation. I know hearing balancing of equation, you get scared. How do we balance equation again? Balancing of equation is simply very easy. It's like solving equations. It simply means once you have two reactions, so long you know the product, check the product. Do we have the same number of moles or number of atoms in the product as we have in reactant? Because in the law of conservation of mass, matter is not destroyed. It just changes from one form to another. Look at this. We are given H2SO4 reacting with NaOH. This will simply give you salt. The salt formed in when H2SO4 reacts with sodium hydroxide is simply Na2SO4 plus water. So now that you know that this is the salt form and this is water, what do? You try to find out if it is balanced. In this reacting side, you have, how many hydrogen do you have here? You have 2 hydrogen here and you have 1 here, which is total of 3 hydrogen. Here, how many do you have? 2, which means it is not balanced. The number of hydrogen in the reactant side should be equal to the number of hydrogen in the product side. Now, let's try to increase here. If we increase here by 2, the number of hydrogen here becomes 2 times 2, 4. Then, we therefore have to increase here as well. Increasing here, this becomes 2. So we have 2 hydrogen here, 2 here, which is total of 4 in the reactant and 4 in the product, which means hydrogen is balanced. What else? Sulfur. 1 sulfur here. In the product, we have 1 sulfur. So sulfur is balanced as well. What other element? Okay, let's look at oxygen. Here we have how many oxygen? O4, 4. Here we have 2 oxygen, 2. 4 plus 2 is 6. Let's look at here. Here we have 4 oxygen. Here we have 2 oxygen. 4 plus 2 is 6. So oxygen is balanced. What else? Sodium. We have 2 sodium here, 2 Na. Here you see Na2, which is 2 Na. So sodium is balanced. This is a balanced equation. What does that imply? 1 mole of acid reacts with 2 moles of base to give you 1 mole of salt and 2 moles of water. Now, what is this one? It's simply the number of moles of acid. What is here? It's simply the number of moles of base. Substituting into this formula, Ca 0.01 times volume of acid 20 over Cb times volume of base 20 cm cube as well. This will simply give you 1 over 2. So when you cross multiply, you solve, you should get 0.02 moles per dm cube. That is the concentration of the base. I hope you found this easy. In the reaction represented by the equation below, this is the equation and we are looking for the value of S. With this, we remember what we did earlier under balancing of equation. Your knowledge of balancing of equation is very, very important to solve many questions in WAEC chemistry. For example, look at this. This is the reactant and these are the products, which means these guys broke down, split to form these other guys. Here we have C10H22 reaction. How about the product? In the product, under this first product, we have C5. Under here, we have C2, which implies that C in product is C7. How about H? Here we have H12, here we have H4, which means H in the product is, this should be 16. The equation is not balanced because instead of 10 carbons, we have 7. Instead of 22 hydrogen, we have 16. What is remaining? It is obviously remaining 3 carbon. And how many hydrogen is remaining? 22 minus 16. 22 minus 16 is obviously 6. So which means we have H6 here. This is the hydrocarbon formed. Now, how do we know that it is an alkane or an alkyne? Let's use the general formula. For alkanes, we have CnH2n plus 2. For alkenes, the general formula is CnH2n. For alkynes, it is CnH2n minus 2. Now, this has 3 carbons. If this were to be an alkane, it will simply be C3, H, 2 times 3, 6, plus 2, 8, H, 8. If this is an alkene, it will simply be C3, H will be 2 times 3, H, 6. Without going further, this is simply an alkene, which is the presence of double bond. If it were alkyne, it will be C3, H, 2 times 3, which is the number of carbons, 6, minus 2, 4. How would the structure of this guy be like? It will simply be 1, 2, 3, carbon 6. So 1 hydrogen 6, 1 hydrogen will be here, 1 hydrogen will be here, 2, 1 will be here, 1 will be here. That is 4, 1 will be here, 1 will be here. That is 6. This carbon is not complete. It has only 2 bonds. And remember, I told you that carbon is tetravalent. It can carry 4 bonds. So what do we do to compensate for this? We therefore introduce a bond here. No, here. Because this one already has 4. This one has 1, 2, 3. So this one will be here. So let's count. Carbon, how many bonds? 1, 2, 3, 4. How many? 1, 2, 3, 4. How many? 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is the structure of propene. Why in? Because of the presence of double bond. It cannot be propane. Cannot be. So this is the answer to the question. What is the value of minus 14 degrees Celsius on the Kelvin scale? This is simply temperature conversion. Temperature in Kelvin, let's say temperature in Kelvin is equals temperature in degrees plus 273. If I give you 23 degrees Celsius and ask you to convert to Kelvin, what you simply do is say 23 plus 273. This answer is the temperature in Kelvin. Similarly, since we are given minus 14 degrees, when you add 273, you simply get 259 Kelvin. That is temperature conversion. In summary, if you are given temperature in degrees and asked to convert to Kelvin, simply add 273. That's all. How about you are given temperature in Kelvin and asked to convert to degrees? Simply subtract 273. That is the conversion factor. You are simply good to go. And this question says, an atom of an element S gains 2 electrons. The symbol of the ion formed is dash. The first thing you should know is that when an atom gains or loses electron, it becomes ion. Ions are atoms which possesses electric charge. So the charge can be positive or negative depending on whether the atom or element loses electron or gains electron. When an atom loses an electron, it becomes positively charged. For example, sodium will lose an electron to give you Na+. Now, the charge is simply the number of electrons lost. How about calcium? Calcium will lose electron to give you Ca2+. This implies that calcium has 2 electrons to lose. In terms of gain, chlorine. When chlorine gains 1 electron, it becomes negative. That is chlorine ion. So this atom here gains 2 electrons, which means it will change from S to 2-, meaning it has gained 2 electrons. That is it for electron gain and electron loss. And looking at this question, it says what type of reaction is represented by the equation below. We have deuterium plus hydrogen to give you helium and energy. 2 smaller nuclei or nucleus, they combine to form a larger nucleus. Look at the product. Helium, the mass of helium is bigger than the mass of individual elements, which is D and H, that carry that took part in the reaction. The atomic number of helium is bigger than the atomic number of deuterium and hydrogen. So this is 2 lighter nuclei coming together to form a bigger one. That is nuclear fusion. Fusion. When a heavy nucleus breaks down to form smaller ones, it is called fission. And the energy from the sun is produced as a result of nuclear fusion, and it reaches us via radiation. Energy from the sun is produced by nuclear fusion and it reaches the earth via radiation. Radiation is a method of heat transfer that doesn't require material medium. Other methods of heat transfer are conduction and convection. In convection, the medium itself moves. In conduction, the medium doesn't move. Example, copper. Copper is a good conductor of electricity. It allows current to pass through them easily. And in the process, copper doesn't dissociate. This is what differentiates electrolytes and conductors. Or electrolytes, they are substances that conduct electricity when they are in molten state or when they are in solution. Molten state simply means when they melt. For example, if you are given sodium chloride in molten state, it will simply dissociate to give you sodium ion and chlorine ion. But in solution, sodium chloride in solution will not just give you sodium ion and chlorine ion. In solution simply means there is presence of water. What will happen? Water itself will dissociate to give you hydrogen ion and hydroxy ion. This is why water can act as both acid and base. So that is it for that. And this one says spontaneous decay, the other one says nuclear fission, and this says radioactive decay. The most appropriate option is nuclear fusion. And the next question says, which of the following methods is not used for separation of mixtures? Distillation, crystallization, and chromatography are separation techniques. Electrolysis is not a separation technique. It is simply the decomposition of substance when direct current passes through them. They begin to conduct. That is electrolysis, splitting by means of current. And this says an acidic salt has dash. Look at what I told you earlier. The first question under acid, bases, and salts. I told you that salts are formed from acid and base when all or some of the replaceable hydrogen ions are replaced by a metal or the hydroxy ion are replaced. If the hydrogen ion is partially replaced, it simply means we still have extra hydrogen ion. So any salt containing hydrogen ion or hydrogen is an acidic salt. So looking at the option, A says hydrogen ion in its aqueous form. B, double ions. C, hydrogen ion in its aqueous solution. D says a single cation in its aqueous solution. Look at option A and C, hydrogen atoms and hydrogen ion. When in solution, acid salt will dissociate to form hydrogen ion. So that is the correct option. Remember, acid is a substance which when dissolved in water dissociate or decompose to form hydrogen ion as the only positive ion. And that definition is Arrhenius definition. Bronsted and Lowry says that acids are proton donor while bases are proton acceptor. And in this question, a nuclide emits a beta particle. In the process, what happens? Look at this expo. Anytime you are given a nuclear reaction and they say that beta particle is being emitted, the mass number remains the same and the atomic number of the reactant increases. So in beta decay, the atomic number increases by 1 while the mass number remains the same. The most suitable substance for putting out petrol fire is dash. It is simply carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide does not support combustion. This is why it is used as fire extinguisher. When you don't support burning, then you can be used to stop burning. And it is a component of air. Air is a mixture, which means it contains many substances combined physically, and they can be easily separated, or they can be separated using separation techniques. Mixture is different from compound in the sense that compound contains 2 or more elements combined chemically, and they cannot be separated by ordinary means. While elements, on the other hand, are pure substances. They cannot be split by an ordinary means. Now, since air is a mixture, air contains oxygen, nitrogen, carbon dioxide, argon, noble gases, dust particles, and more. Oxygen is a component of air that supports burning. You cannot burn without oxygen. So oxygen supports burning. In the absence of air, you can't burn anything. While nitrogen, on the other hand, does not support burning. Carbon dioxide can be used to stop burning. So it is fire extinguisher. And the next question says, which of the following molecules has a linear structure? Talking about shape of molecules, ammonia has trigonal pyramidal shape. Water has bend shape, V shape, or angular shape. Carbon dioxide is linear, and methane is tetrahedral. So the only molecule there that is linear is carbon dioxide. And what is molecule? It is the smallest part of a substance that is capable of independent existence, which means it can exist on its own and still retain the property of that substance. That is molecule. And this says, which of the following compounds has the same empirical formula as benzene? In empirical formula and molecular formula, I recently released a video on that. I'll share a link to it. Check out that video. Empirical formula is the smallest formula of a compound. It shows the ratio of the atoms present. Simplest whole number ratios. If I give you C6H12O6, this is simply carbohydrate. This is the molecular formula of carbohydrate. While molecular formula, on the other hand, will show you the exact elements, atom present, and their number. This is carbohydrate. If you divide here by the smallest number, you have C1H2O, which means CH2O. This is the simplest formula of carbohydrate. It contains the ratio, that is 1:2:1 of the atoms present. The simplest, not the exact. So this is the empirical formula, and this is the molecular formula. Now this says the empirical formula of benzene. Benzene is C6H6. Benzene has alternating double bond and it exhibits resonance. if this is benzene, if you divide both sides by 2, you simply get C2H2. If you divide both sides by 1, you get C1H1, which means 1:1 is the empirical formula. This is the simplest one, simplest, showing the ratio. Out of all these options, the one that is almost as close as benzene in terms of empirical formula is C2H2, because benzene can be reduced to C2H2. So option B is the correct option. And the last question for part 1 of this class says, the refreshing characteristic drinks is due to the presence of dash. When you open fresh drink, soft drinks, you notice that refreshing taste, like that refreshing taste is as a result of carbon dioxide. So carbon dioxide, apart from being used as fire extinguisher, it gives fresh drinks, soft drinks, characteristic taste or smell, as you may call it. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, candidates, this brings us to the end of part 1. Check out part 2. I will share link to that. Feel free to subscribe to this channel and don't forget to tell other persons about this. Enjoy.